Welcome back. So, I'm wearing my Boba Fett hat and my here Stormtroopers jersey. So, first time I've worn this jersey too. So there you go. Want to discuss a little bit around for the entertainment world for people that subscribe to this channel. That might be like, it's a lot of baseball and football. I know baseball on my TV right now too as I watch the A's again. I hope it doesn't end that way, but I got a feeling. Anyways, Caleb and Justine last night on Love Island won the $100,000. So, the way that they do this, it's interesting. So you have a choice. You're voted the winning couple on Love Island, and you're given $100,000. And what they do is they have two envelopes. One of them has nothing in it. One of them has $100,000. And if yours has $100,000, you have a choice. You can keep the $100,000 for yourself, or split it with your significant other that you picked up on the show. And there's no way that any of these couples, had they won last night, were going to keep the $100,000 for themselves. There was no chance. And I thought it was an interesting dynamic to this. I kind of called where I thought the couples would end up. Johnny and Sally had my vote, but Caleb and Justine were very likable and probably the best matched of the four couples. Um, Carrington and Laurel. Well, we'll see. They do seem to be the one that everybody's picking as well. They're not going to make it, and we'll see whether or not that ends up being true. Because last year the couple that I thought was going to make it didn't. So we'll see. I definitely think that there would be some interest in this era where making TV shows is becoming a challenge with trying to keep social distance and keep all your skeleton crews going. I think there'd be room for some kind of an offshoot of the show where we follow what they do after the show's done. I do, in sort of a reality show kind of way. They're likable people, and so I think it could be entertaining to see some sort of an offshoot sort of thing. So yeah, congratulations to them. It was a fun season. I thought this year was better than last year, and now I won't get to see pictures of Vegas every night. Because it's almost like going to Vegas, except it's not at all. It's nothing like going to Vegas. It just makes you miss Las Vegas. So, anyways, that's all done. I have finally started watching the show The Good Place. And it's one of those ones that I've been meaning to. And I thought, I'll give it a shot. And I'm already into season 2 and what I'm watching. But I've started watching it with Yvonne as well. Because once I got to the end of the first season, I'm like, oh, I need to watch the first season again, because of course there's a twist to the show, and I thought, wow, that would be interesting to watch again and see if I can pick up on these little cues that maybe I missed the first time around. So it's good that it's a show that I think gets funnier as it goes along as well. That's a key, that's a sign of a good show. I harkens back to The Office, where the first season it's okay. There's a couple funny moments, but as the show goes along, you become more familiar with the characters, and there's more of a history to the characters. Things get funnier, and The Good Place, it definitely does that as well. And I think what helps is that it's only a 4-season show. There's only 13 episodes per season. And so it's not a heavy watch. I don't have to watch hundreds and hundreds of episodes to get through it. And I think it's something different, which is impressive, and there's no laugh tracks to it. And it's a comedy, but it's comedy-ish. And it's got its serious moments as well. I don't know. And all four characters and the way they interact with each other is interesting too. So it's an entertaining show. And also, Yvonne and I are watching one episode per day of Legends. Once I reached season 3, I realized, this is a perfect spot to watch with her. And I had started her with season 4, and I thought, nah, I should watch series 3 with her, and then series 4, there's more history to it, and then you get more of a sense of what's going on in season 4. So it is interesting, and I've gotten up to episodes now that I remember pretty well. Which I think when you've only watched an episode once through and you remember it pretty well, that you can watch it a couple years later and still remember it. That's key, and of course they have the standard prerequisite. Every show has it, the Groundhog Day episode. And it's funny, of course, it's Zari caught in it, so I'm a big fan of Zari, so any episode that features more screen time for Tala Ash, this guy's going to absolutely support that 110%. And it's interesting because as you're watching these episodes, and when you watch them all in a row, you realize, okay, so somewhere in between the last adventure and this one, Zari decided to start curling her hair. Got it. It was weird because straight as a die, and then all of a sudden it's curled in the next episode. I'm like, all right, so it's weird. Because she wasn't on an away mission to do it either, so I'm not sure. Anyways, but there you go. Billie Eilish is now teasing that she has a documentary coming out in February, so the teaser trailer dropped. And they also dropped the video for the No Time to Die song. The song itself was released months ago. Now they've dropped the video, and of course, everything's delayed because of, well, pandemic. So the new James Bond movie is one that's going to need to be released in the theaters, and so everything gets pushed back. But for her, the video is now released, so it's out there, and it's a nice throwback, black and white. The one thing I think that makes Billie Eilish maybe more mainstream than some of the other artists in the same age range is that she sounds like the kind of singer you would have heard 60, 70 years ago. She sounds like an old soul, and she's got that in her voice, and her music is kind of a little bit of everything. So, smart singer, and her new stuff is a little bit slower. I'm hoping that the new album, there's something a little more, I don't know, peppy to it. I'm concerned that maybe we'll get just a bunch of slower songs. I mean, I'll still get the CD when it comes out, but which I'm assuming she'll have been working on with her brother because quarantine, so there's not much else to do. But we'll see. Speaking of theaters and all of that and not doing that, Bill and Ted Face the Music made $32 million in video on demand money. That's pretty good. The studio gets 80% of it, and what's interesting is that depending on which how you look at it, they get about 50% of the money that they make in theaters. So if a movie makes $300 million, $160 million of that will go to the studio. But if they make 80% on video on demand, that means they're actually making more of a profit. The budget for Bill and Ted Face the Music was only $25 million, meaning that Keanu Reeves didn't charge as much as he could have for a sequel to the Bill and Ted movies. And the movie only made $5 million in the theaters. So we're seeing, and that's globally too, $3 million locally and $2 million globally. And so, or $2 million around the rest of the globe, $3 million in North America. So $5 million overall. And so we're definitely seeing a shift. I've talked about this for months. I don't know. We may very well see now that movies just get released at home and in theaters. There may be a hybrid version of that takes place from here until, well, until the pandemic's done. And we don't have a timeline for that. We don't. We can guess, we can hope, we can cross our fingers, but we don't really have a timeline. So movies, television are figuring out new business models depending on the product. And because again, with TV, of course, you have to shoot the shows. And in order to get them shot and make sure everybody's safe and all that, you have to have, bubble environments and all that wonderful stuff. So it's a real challenge for the entire entertainment industry right now. Speaking of which, Jamie Foxx, remember Electro in Amazing Spider-Man Part 2? Amazing Spider-Man Part 2 was not a great movie, not gonna lie. But I thought Jamie Foxx did well. So I'm not entirely surprised that for the next Spider-Man movie, they're looking at the possibility of Jamie Foxx's Electro being in it. I don't mind that at all. I really don't. I think that that might end up being a good call. We already know that J. Jonah Jameson is going to be the same actor that played him in the other movies because you can't have anybody else playing him. And so maybe it's a good idea for Spider-Man to stop denying that all the other universe stuff happened. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and whether or not Electro actually ends up in the next movie. Because like I said, he wasn't bad. I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is all over the place. But it's sort of like the Spider-Man 3 movie. Sandman was good. It was just that whole movie was just overstuffed. So I think if you can take items from the old movies that are no longer canon and make those characters, those actors, those items canon again, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. Just never reboot Spider-Man again. Please. They're going to reboot Spider-Man again at some point, aren't they? I also wanted to end with this. So the trailer dropped for the sequel for the Borat movie. I didn't even know he was making a sequel because it's Sacha Baron Cohen. And I will say, the original Borat, I remember I laughed pretty hard at it. There's some cringy moments in it, but it's supposed to make you cringe. It's supposed to make you go, oh, I cannot believe that just happened. So yeah, the Borat sequel, I'm down for it. I'm thinking about watching that. Of course, that means that if I'm gonna watch that with my wife, I have to watch the original with her. And yeah, there's some moments in that movie that Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to be anxious to see what kind of critical reception that's going to get, both from critics and from people around the world who watch this, because it's current events. It's current events. It's something he's been filming, and it's funny because Sacha Baron Cohen kept showing up in the news, and I thought, okay, what's he doing? Why? What is he doing this for? And now we know. Now we know it's for a Borat sequel. So that makes me all the more interested in seeing what footage he's been shooting, what's been going on, and how many release forms he had to get people to sign, or all of that other wonderful stuff too. Because yeah, this should be interesting. 2020 takes another turn. Sure, we'll have a Borat movie. Why not? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.